what's it like to be blind, and what's it like to be a blind artist? Hello, welcome back to my existing subscribers and to my channel members. So, and if you're not a subscriber, I hope that you will consider subscribing after you watch some of this video or the whole video. And definitely, everybody, please give it a thumbs up. It's really good for channel growth. Thumbs up, please. Thumbs up. So, what's it like to be blind? And what's it like to be a blind artist? Okay, first I'd like to talk a little bit about the definition of blindness. Okay, a lot of people call it legally blind, vision disabled, vision impaired. Legal blindness starts at 2200 vision. And then it goes down from there to total blindness. And unlike what most people know, the percentage is very small of those blind people that are totally blind. The percentage is very small for that. Most people that are legally blind have some element of vision, depending just whether they only see lights or whatever. It's not like they just live in darkness. So I want to tell you a little bit about my story, and it started in my early 40s. That's when I got diagnosed with a hereditary, extremely rare retinal disease called cone dystrophy, where it knocks out the function of your cones, which means that impacts my central vision. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute, about what living with that is like. But for all the rest of my life, up until my early 40s, I had normal vision, and things started when I was age 35, where the doctors could not correct my vision to 20/20, but they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know why. And then 5 years went by until I developed the last symptom of a blind spot in my central vision, and that's when they were able to diagnose me. And what the blind spot is like is not it's not just like a black round. It's not like a black round empty circle where when I look right at something, that it's just a black round circle. No, it's not like that. Because my peripheral vision is normal. It's so my peripheral vision takes over, like kind of fills in the space, so I see. So actually, and your eyes naturally keep scanning, so keep moving. So I'm able to, I don't just stare at something. If I stare at an object, that's when the central vision, that's when I don't see anything. So right now I'm staring at this tiny little pinhole that's supposed to be the camera lens. I'm staring right at it and I don't see it. Instead, I see it covered over by the white, kind of like the white of the frame, and it's kind of blurry and fuzzy, and it looks like it's just covered over with the extra white of the frame of the frame on the phone. And here's a good example of what it's like. Okay, so suppose I'm staring at a cross street with all these cars going by like this, and I'm staring at the cross street. If I just stare and don't move my eyes and just keep staring, this is what will happen. A car will be coming from one side. All of a sudden, it disappears. I'm staring, it disappears into my blind spot and goes out the other end, and then I can see it go out the other end. And in the meantime, what I'm seeing right here is just lightness and fuzziness and stuff. I can't really see shapes or anything. Well, it's like lightness and fuzziness and blurriness or something like that, and kind of fills in with what's ever around it, kind of like thing. So that's the best way that I can explain it. And then I want to emphasize that everybody experiences their vision loss differently. Even if you have the same disease, people compare notes and find out their vision loss experience is much different than the person next to them that even has the same disease. Okay, and my retinal disease is so extremely rare that most people have never heard of it. And both my parents had to have recessive genes to give it to me. Recessive genes. Both parents happened to have recessive genes to give me this disease. So it's extremely rare. So most people that look at me, they can't tell that I'm blind or have a vision disability. If you just look at me, I do not walk with a cane. I do not need a dog. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain that. I have another story about seeing the eye chart. Here's to relate to this. Let me tell you another story about. So I have to visit my eye. I get my eyes examined once a year. I only have to go in once a year. There's no treatment. There's no cure for this. And I go and get my eyes examined once a year at the eye hospital. And so I go there one year, and this was after a few years after my diagnosis, and I'd been living with blindness for a few years, and I'm sitting in the examination room, and across the whole room is this lighted eye chart or whatever. And I told them, I said, I can't read those 3 lines of text. And they said, that's letter E. So I am fortunate that my vision will not lead to total blindness, and it's not supposed to get significantly worse either. But it did get a little bit worse that year, because before that I had been able to read levels 1 and I've been able to read the letter E and S and L, the top 2 rows of the eye chart. So I was astonished that that was letter E. Those 3 lines of text was letter E, and then that was the first year they had to start holding up fingers. So I can't explain that you have to hold up fingers, yet I don't need to walk with a cane or a dog. I don't know why. I can't explain that. And I was even able to keep my career, my profession, and as an art educator, as a matter of fact, for elementary age children, and keep that career, and completed 25 years of service, which was the minimum amount that you need to complete, and I had the correct age, and I was able to finish that profession. So I can't explain how I was able to do that. I could complete most job duties of the teaching. The only thing is, if I was in a teacher's meeting, I could not see whatever presentation, even if I'd have to stand up like right where the screen is, because a lot of times they're giving presentations at a teacher's meeting or something. Most of the times I couldn't do that, or sit at a regular computer and have the desktop screen like this far from me. I can't do that. I have to, if I'm on a laptop or a desktop, I have to crane my neck and shoulders, and I get tons of neck and shoulder pain. Oh, well, yeah, there's software programs that, like voiceover software programs I have used for my desktop in the past. Now what I prefer to use is my iPad for most everything. That way I can zoom things up, or I can hold things up to my screen, and I can use voice over text, which is the talking voice. It will talk to you, and I use that sometimes. I actually keep forgetting to use that. So let's talk about how it affects my work as an artist. So I've been taking art seriously ever since I was 14 and 15. I did pretty detailed work that was realistic work, but actually my work wasn't always, my work was never photorealistic. It could be realistic, it was representational. But my art always did tend to be expressive with color and kind of bold things, and it was not really about tiny details. My artwork was just never like that. But more recently, I've been taking online art classes, and I did want to do some detailed, I wanted to be able to paint some realistic faces in watercolor and acrylic. And it's required that I have to, actually, here's my magnifying glass. I keep it around my neck all the time because I'm always spot checking things, spot reading things. And I keep it around my neck because otherwise I just keep misplacing it all the time. So keep it around my neck every day. And so if I'm doing very detailed artwork, I have to, pretend this is the table, my hand. I'm an inch like this, using Oh yeah, so I'm an inch away. So the paintbrush is in this hand. I'm going like this, and the table's an inch away, and it gives me great strain on my neck and shoulders. I can work like that for hours, but then the next day, forget it. I can't do it 2 days in a row. But that's more recently. I've been doing this highly detailed work, and I'm thinking this isn't. I don't know if this is like I love the results. I'm like actually improved my skills, and I love the results, and it's really realistic. And these really realistic watercolor faces and acrylic, representational acrylic faces and stuff like that. And I'm really loving the results, but it's so painstaking what I have to go through to get those results. So I might just go back to the way I used to work. Now, the way I used to work was that, and it's kind of like the way I worked my whole life. I didn't really have to adjust much after my vision loss. That I just, some of my work is detailed, but my whole painting would not be detailed. It would be like, then there'd be like a lot of looseness and big shapes and colors. And basically, I do paint like, I'm representational artist, definitely not photorealistic. Definitely like some representation in it, but it's kind of leans on the abstract side. And it's expressionistic and also impressionistic, but it's very expressionistic with color. I consider myself a colorist as an artist. And so another thing is, very grateful that I didn't lose my color vision. With this retinal disease, there are some people that lose their color vision and just see in black and white. So I'm very grateful I did not lose my color vision with this retinal disease. And because I consider myself a colorist and I use color very expressively, and my artwork tends to be like expressionistic / impressionistic / representational, and like leaning on the abstract side. So definitely check out my videos here on my channel. Oh, also I want to make an announcement about we're going to start a live stream, support live stream, dealing, and it's open to sighted people as well. It's not just open to the blind community of YouTube, but it's geared towards the YouTube blind community. And it's starting June 7th. Mark your calendars, June 7th. That's the first Sunday. It's going to be the first Sunday of every month. June 7th, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's when we're kicking it off, June 7th. That's a Sunday, June 7th, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be a live stream, and I'm going to have a co-host, and we're going to be inviting people up on the panel and who want to come up on the panel and discuss things. And so definitely mark your calendars for that. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments. I also have another video that I'll link down below. It'll be down below of a video I made of what it's like to work with my iPad, work digitally with my iPad, and with a vision disability, how it helps me and how I work with it. So I definitely will link that video down below if you want to know more about how I work digitally as a legally blind artist. And so thank you so much for watching, and please click thumbs up. Please click thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, I hope you will consider subscribing, definitely. And we're all creative beings. We were created to be creative. Creativity is contagious. And a quote that I came up with is, you do not need to see 20/20 to have artistic vision.